on me here. Let's see what kind of crowd we get early here. If you have questions right away, get those in for me, right? Don't hesitate, don't delay. As always, this is an open forum here, so I don't do any pre-done content with this. Charles, how are you? You got some questions, Charles? Don't be shy. Get those right in here for me, and we're going to get rocking and rolling here. I mean, I've got a few things off the top of my head to go over with you that are like the real basics of the software. Uh, these are the kinds of things I think that once you get these clicking basics down, you can really rock and roll the software from there. And that applies even more to folks that have, just even just a little bit more knowledge, software staff. Yeah, so let's rock right into it. And anybody with questions, I'm going to get to everybody's questions. I don't have an answer for you right away. I'll get some research done and get you that answer, whether now in the live stream or via email. So, but Charles, hopefully you're with me here. And, so one of the things that happened to you, Charles, was for whatever reason, the startup layout didn't load for you. My voice is muffled. All right, give me 1 second. Let me check. Is that any better? It got better. All right. Let me also increase my output to you folks. All right, I'm gonna go assuming that it's better now. Don't be shy, chime in. If not, I'll continue to see if I can make an adjustment here. Okay, perfect. So what happened with you, Charles, was that for whatever reason, the download layout, the startup layout didn't launch for you. I don't know why. We see it occasionally, when 500 users or something happens too. But that startup layout, to get that if you wanted it, is just going to live inside what we call our docked channel bar. And so you could find that by going to new, and you'll see channel bar and dock channel bar here. You're going to want the dock channel bar if you want that startup layout. You don't need to have it. And in here, everything's going to be in this container window. The explosive winners here should be one of the top ones that you see. This is what you normally start off with as a brand new user of the software. A lot of people are coming in, they want, fast winners and all that stuff like that. And this is the kind of scanning that's going on in there. But you don't have to start with this. You don't have to start with anything specific, right? I'm going to minimize all my windows for the moment here. So we can kind of start off brand new with absolutely nothing. And the basics of the software live in two places: the menu bar up here, right? And we can open, new alert windows, topless, multi windows, charts, all that. Once we have any of these windows open, everything becomes what we call right-click magic from there. All of these will have like predefined settings in them, but you can adjust those settings. So when you go to open a new alert window, there's probably going to be what we call a selected alert in here. Usually it defaults to new high. And there'll be some window specific filters in here that are also predefined and filled. And you just go ahead and erase those out and we can start fresh, right? An alert window at its core is a 2-event system. So what you're going to have going on with the alert window is what we call an alert or an event, like a new high or a new low. And all these single icons here, those are going to be those alerts, essentially. You usually want to select 1 or 2 alerts that will be coupled based on your filters. The filters will be indicated by these dual icons right here. So like price and spread, different volume filters that we have, range, position, and ranges, things like that. And the dual icons with the filters equal a minimum and maximum value. And you could give it just the minimum, just the maximum. You could give it both. And this helps you define what you're looking for with the scans. So just to build an example scan, if we were looking at something maybe momentum wise specifically, right? We might start with a new high alert, right? So maybe we're looking for stocks of breaking new highs on the day. We go here, we select it, click add alert, and that'll bring us to the selected alerts window. Put a check mark in there, hide those unused. And if we're looking for a new high on the day, we'll leave this field blank, just blank like that. And then we may say, all right, we've got a new high. We want some price. Good if I type right. We want a price range, so we can add that filter. And if we're ever curious what a filter really means, we could right click on the icon and go to help. That'll give us a page that looks like this, and that'll tell us what we're doing with that filter, what can be done with that filter. And that goes for any. And you can also find that help here in the search. You click on it and press the help here. You can right click and get help that way. And then there's a show me function in the middle here. So if we're unsure what adding values to the filter will do, if we click the show me function in real time here, you just say, you see it says all stocks. Now if I put a 1 here, it's going to say show me all stocks with prices at least $1. And if I put 100 here, now it updates and says between 1 and 100. And if I click OK, there I go. I've got it, right? And that's what we have going on with that there. And that'll hold true for most of these filters. If you use a histogram instead, but for the most part, they'll be verbally illustrated like that for you. The next part, like I said, let's just build a simple momentum scanner. Maybe we're looking at stocks that, they're kicking it in volume today, and a relative volume works in a ratio. So 1 is normal, 2 is 2 times, 3 is 3 times, 4 is 4 times, so on and so forth. So with the relative volume filter, I put a 5 in here, and it'll, show me stocks with current volume is at least 5. And that means it's doing to this point in the day per its 30-day average on a ratio, it's doing 5 times what it normally do to this point in the day. Now, relative volume is a reactionary filter in the sense that a stock could be doing that kind of volume, right? And then all of a sudden, all the volume dries up. The relative volume will start to click back down on itself, right? So that's a reactionary filter in that way. And there are, tons of filters and alerts. You're going to learn a lot of it. Nobody uses all of it. Nobody's expected to know or use all of it. I, of course, have to have a more in-depth knowledge than the average person because I'm troubleshooting traders of all sorts. But you're going to find yourself, when you know more than less what you're looking for, you're going to have kind of your bread and butter filters and alerts that you're going to mostly kind of stick to. That's not to say you won't branch out at some point or may not branch out at some point. But, for example, I don't use fundamentals at all. I never look at fundamentals. I know they're there. I've got an okay understanding of them. I just never use them at all, right? Those kinds of things like that. We may want a minimum amount of shares traded on this today, right? So you could say, well, while the relative volume is high, you could have a stock that, let's say, it only trades 100 shares a day, right? And now it's already at 500 shares for the day. Well, it's still extremely illiquid, but it's doing 5 times what it would normally do, right? So we can couple the volume today filter in shares with the relative volume filter and say, I don't want to see anything less than 500,000 shares, for example, here. And then we may say we want to make sure that it's, up from the prior day's close, right? So we want to see stuff that's, not only breaking out, it was strong from yesterday, it's 3% above yesterday's close, and making a new high. We may also want to couple something like, for example, VWAP. Right, we have distance from VWAP and a couple of different numbers here. VWAP 1 would be today, 2 is yesterday, 3 is the day before yesterday, 4 is going back 3 days, 5 is going back 4 days. And it's the theme on the anchoring of, if you're familiar with Brian Shannon and Alpha Trends, his anchored VWAP. And so we could add that filter as well. And we could say, well, I want to make sure all these things are going on, but I want to make sure maybe it's not more than 10% above the VWAP, but maybe we're 2% above it as well, right? So there's some bracket in there that we want to see that we get lift off. Maybe we're not too far extended. And of course, these things become subjective, just like any other sort of technical analysis. So I'm going to take a pause here. Charles, if you have questions on what I've gone over, if you want me to go in another direction, let me know. other folks that are in here listening, if you have any questions for me, please let me know. As I always say, I cannot answer the questions that are not asked. We could just start with a scanner like that. So I'm going to push forward, but interrupt, throw things in the chat for me, right? And push forward with the scanner as is, just for the moment like this. I'll press OK, and that brings me to the summary tab over here. You can see, you have all these different tabs to go over here. We'll just go slow. We want to do every tab at once here. And we could name the window, my first scan. Any window could be named anything. Technically, I could name this scan, crashing through lows of the day, even though that's not what it's doing at all, right? So just in case, a lot of times people come in and they're like, oh, I saw a high day momentum scanner. I'm like, okay, we have to narrow it down because, I have people email in all the time about high day momentum scanners. We can there's an infinite amount of combos we could make of that. We can name any scanner anything we want. So, just always keep that in mind when you're building, or if you go through any videos that we might have or anything like that. We press OK, and we're going to get a window that looks just like this right here. There's some data columns that are in here, and we could always change those out as well. We go over that in a moment. And, anything that meets the exact criteria of the scan, if it's making a new high, bracketed in the VWAP with the relative volume and the shares minimum traded today, we're going to get a time-stamped alert. Boom, this stock did exactly what you were looking for me to look for, or what you were asking me to look for at this exact second right here like that. And then, the next part of building a layout to me anyways, this is what we call a layout. Maybe we get some charts going here. Open a couple of charts here, we can arrange things how we want to arrange them. And we're going to get into what I mentioned before, right-click magic. So we can see both these charts started as daily charts. I have default set that they open exactly like this anytime I open a new chart. MINM just happens to be the random stock when I set the default. If I right-click here, I can find the time frame I want. We can go to properties. We can turn pre-market and post-market on and off on the charts. That'll work for just the intraday charts like that. There's a number of items that include change chart style if we want, line charts, or we want bar charts, right? We want open, high, low, close charts, and area charts. There's a number of different ways that we can do that here with charts if we want to have those. I do think most people prefer candlesticks, but to each their own on all those kinds of things. No, I paused. I'm sorry, I paused to read your question there, Charles. So there's a number of ways we can do things with saving, right? The first thing we can do here is we can save individual windows to the cloud. So I can right-click any window and look for Save or Share to Cloud, and it'll default to name it whatever the window name is. You can always change it here if you want. I can just simply click Save, right? And then moving forward, if I go to File on the menu bar to go to Load from Cloud, you can see it right here. My first scan is saved right there for me like that. And you do that with charts. You can do anything. You can save it like that. Then we have a couple of different ways that we can save things as a group or conglomerate, what we call a layout, or we could save it as multiple windows together, but not as a layout necessarily. So the first, sorry, I just want to take a sip of water. So the first way I'm going to go over is what we call default layouts, and they're the local save. And the default is going to be what opens every time you start trade ideas. We come to File, Save Layout down here. And you're going to see for me right now, it's defaulting to default_layout in all capital letters. And if I were to save it like this, this is what would open every single time I start trade ideas every day. And what you're going to find is you will create a default layout. Let's just say later today, you create a default layout and you save it. I'm 100% sure tomorrow you'll make some edits and save over that default layout for a new one. And, I can speak from my own experience when I first began using the software. Probably in the first 2 years that I had the software, I'd be confident to say that I probably had over 200 different default layouts. Just saving over, editing, changing things. I was still learning trading. I was still learning what I was looking for, all those things like that. I say that because I was very new to the market. I didn't know anything about trading whatsoever. So I was a complete blank slate on all of this stuff, not just the software, but the trading. You can also, though, make multiple layouts. So, for example, I always encourage folks that like to do pre-market work and regular hours work, make a layout just for the pre-market and then make a layout for the regular hours, because these pre-market scans aren't likely to carry over into regular hours. And you don't want to clutter up your screen. You don't want to have things there that are unnecessary. There are limited resources that we have to use. By limited resources, I mean if you have too many windows open, it's going to overload the system with data. Think about if you got a fire hose, right? And you're trying to shove a watermelon through the fire hose. The watermelon being the data, and the fire hose being the platform that the data can transfer through. So, if I wanted to save this as something else, I could simply name it as, pre-market. And then I would save it as the pre-market, and I would be able to find that, when I come to file, load from file instead of save layout, or excuse me, load layout. Sorry, file. So we have the save layout option here, and the default underscore layout. That's going to be your startup layout, but we can also, like I said, rename other ones, and we can open any of those layouts that we've saved with those different names there. So just always make sure when you're saving a layout, you save it to the name you want it to be. So like if I wanted this to be my chart test layout here, I click on it, and that would be that. That's what I would get, right? Chaz, we don't have EMAs. So, we've got a list of SMAs that we can scan for on crossing. And if you bear with me, Chaz, and we can hang here for just another moment, I just want to go over a couple other things with Charles real fast. And then I'll get to you on how I would build cross scans. The next thing I want to show you here, Charles, real fast, is our topless window. And this is another type of scan, but this one just auto refreshes every few seconds with the stocks that meet the filters. There's no time-stamped alert. It's just if the stock belongs on the scan, it's there. If it doesn't belong on the scan, it filters itself off. And if we come into the search here of this configure, we see it's only the filters. That's it. The topless are powerful in another way. We can sort. So we could say, I want to see stocks doing all these different things, but then I want you to order them based on maybe highest relative volume, for example. And I could come to the sort, and I could choose relative volume, or I could come to the search and I could look for other things to search and sort on those. And that would be a way for us to put the stocks that we not only do we want to see on the scan, but then order them how we want to see them on the scan. So if I wanted to sort by volatility dollars or volatility percent, so it's a very powerful way of looking and using the data in that regard. Those are the main ins and outs of that. It's that menu bar, the right click magic. Now, Charles, if you have a scan, if you've got, whatever you want to see, we can always help with that. I see you put something in here, so we're going to go over that, of course. And where we've been emailing back and forth, I'm always happy to help people put together a template of the scan for them. You tell me you're looking for ABC, X, Y, and Z, and I can get that into a window. I can share it via the cloud, which I'm going to go over the cloud saving in a moment here. And then you can take that cloud link, load it, and you can say, yeah, I like what you did for me there, but maybe I'm going to adjust this or adjust that. But I'll circle back to that in just a second. I want to help Chaz here. So Chaz, this is how I would build a cross alert person, any kind of cross alert. So if we're crossing up, I would start with a 5-minute high. If we're crossing down, I go 5-minute low. You just type that out and you'll find it, all right? And then I would filter for our SMAs. So you see how I click filter up here. That's the only category I want is filters. I don't want alerts. And I go to SMA, and this is what we have for SMAs. There's no way to add an SMA we don't have, unfortunately. I wish I could tell you something different. I said 9 EMA crossing of 21 EMA. So I think, the closest I'm going to be able to get you with that. Let's do this on a 5-minute chart, and we'll go a 8 SMA, and we'll add that filter. I'm going to bracket that filter in with minus 0.25 and a 0.25. And you can see here with the show me function, this is basically saying show me stocks where the price is no more than 0.25 above it, no more than 0.25 below it, or it's right at it. So we're trying to bracket pricing right around that SMA like that. And then we're going to look at the 20 period on 5 minute, and I'm going to go ahead and add that filter. I'm going to do the same exact thing here, minus 0.25 and a 0.25 to bracket price in. We can get rid of these other filters here. Need those for the moment anyways. I guess I'll leave the price and all that in here. And that's the basis of what I would do for a cross scan. Now, something I just always like to point out with cross scans, while they are great, if a stock is moving sideways and continues to move sideways, it'll cross and cross and cross and cross and cross, and none of them are actionable signals, right? So you may want to consider adding something like, a change over X amount of time, and that the stock is maybe gradually moving up or down if you're crossing down over that time. So you're not just looking at stocks that are running flat and cross, 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 cross. Let me know if that makes sense. And just to point out a couple of things here with that change. Right, so we've got all these change filters on these different time frames here like that. And of course, we could do things on longer scales, change over days. We've got a few different ones, 5, 10, 20, 1 year. There's also position and range filters. So, position in these different ranges and times, day, yesterday, and all these other days like that too. So I just always like to point that out because, like I said, you could have something crossing over and over again, and all it's going to do is, if you're trying to get in and out on the cross, is just chop you to pieces, and you never really have an actionable signal from that cross. Because, like I said, when you're just moving sideways, you can see a cross do this, cross and cross and cross and cross and cross, and we never really went anywhere, right? There's never an actionable signal. So when you've got something that starts to move up and you get the cross while you're moving up overall in price, that's when the signal can become more actionable. So that's just my 2 cents on a cross alert. If you let me know, Chaz, if that helped, if you have other questions on it. Charles, same thing. If you've got other questions, anybody else here too, don't be shy, folks. Get me some questions in here, right? Great start to this session. I like when we're rocking and rolling like this. I much prefer this than me just kind of randomly talking market and stuff. Actually, because you can listen to market commentary from anybody, right? One person just goes the next unless they're trying to sell you doom and gloom. Shut those people down right away. So now I want to go back over. All right, glad that helped, Chaz. And if you have other questions on it, let me know. And always, folks, don't be shy. If you've got questions that come up later in the day, info@trade-ideas.com. Do not be shy. Use that email address. We will get back to you as quickly as we can. All right. Sometimes it takes a little bit, depending on who's doing the ticket and the research and how easy or hard the question is and so on and so forth. But leverage that email address. Now, I want to go back over saving again. So we talked about the local saves here, right? And if you save it as default _ layout, that's what starts up with trade IDs every time. You can create other layouts to be saved in here as well. However, we have a cloud, and everything you ever do that you want saved should be backed up to the cloud. In order to save to the cloud, we go right click, save or share to cloud. And if I save this, we just went over it before, but I want to do it again. Now it lives up in this cloud. And so if you get a new computer, you're at your dog walker's house and you're going to trade some stocks from the dog walker's house or some craziness like that, whatever it is, you can load the software on any computer you want. It's one connection at a time per account, but you can load the software anywhere. And if you're not logged in anywhere else, you log in from a hotel, wherever you are. You're taking the summer and your RV driving around the country, and you're going to trade doing that. You load anything from the cloud anywhere on any machine. File, load from cloud, and it's all going to live there. So, and it's a great way to have everything backed up. Lightning strikes and you get a power surge and your computer gets fried. Anything like that whatsoever. The next thing we can do though is this: we can save the whole layout back to the cloud as well. If I go File, Save or Share to Cloud here, I can click Entire Layout right here, and I can give it a name, and I can save it. No, I won't be participating in the Trade the Pool contest. I don't get to trade as much as I would like to, especially day trade. Um, I don't know. Maybe sometimes it keeps me out of trouble, but my tasks around here have me more swing trading and kind of really more holding, especially in a bull market like we've been in. I really tend to let my winners run, and my day trading is a lot more few and far in between. Again, because unfortunate, I was never a great day trader, anyways, not to this point. So I won't be doing it, but I will be keeping an eye on it. I really, really like Michael Katz and the team over there, what they're doing with Trade the Pool. So, they offer something pretty great that not a lot of other people are offering. With that said, so yeah, if I click entire layout now, notice something here. When I clicked entire layout, check marks went in all these items here, right? So everything I have open. Now there's a lot of windows that I've got hidden right now because I closed them all just so that we could have a kind of a clean screen while we're going over this at the beginning here. And anything that is saved as a layout, when you open a new layout, when you open a layout, it will close all your other windows. So you may at some point have a conglomerate of scans and charts that you want to open, 2, 3 scans and a chart or two, but you want to open into another layout. Well, we don't have to save that as a layout. We can save that as a grouping of windows. We can go File, Save or Share to Cloud. And again, look how everything is non-checked over here. Let's open that up. And I could throw check marks on a couple of things that I want. I just want those saved, and I could name it whatever I want to name it here, right? Name of group. And then I would just simply click save. Don't click entire layout, right? Just click save, right? And now if I go to File, Load from Cloud, you'll see this right here, right? And it gives me all that data about it right there. And then we can also, if we expand it, see window count. I saved 5 windows there, right? The file type doesn't have the file type because it wasn't specifically an alert window or a layout, right? And we know it's a group because the other thing too is look, see how there's an A here for alert window. You get the TI signal, meaning that it's not a single window. And you'll see a T for topless. When they're a layout, you'll get this little TI signal here. Span this out a little bit. If it's a multi-strategy window, you'll get the M window there. If it's a race, you'll get that there. So I think that kind of drives home the point. Again, anybody with questions, please, please, please ask the questions. Do not hesitate. This is what these support sessions are meant to be. This is what they are for, to make sure that you are getting what you need out of the software. Like I said, we can help with all kinds of things with software. The trading part, that's on you. That's on you. Of course, we can talk some charts and indicators and things like that. But of course, we're not giving buy and sell advice or anything like that. So again, anybody with questions, fire them in. I think, Charles, that one question that you had a few minutes ago there, a little more than a few minutes ago, but, trying to save and if it's making new highs and how do you save that and then add the moving 2x higher volume. I think we kind of roundabout went over that, but, just to touch on that again, we've got this scan here and, we're looking at, like I said, new highs here. And we just put the 5 relative volume in there. So it'd be 5x. I could just change it to 2 if I wanted 2x, right? And then again, if you want to have a minimum amount of shares too, because as I was saying before, something just trades 1 share every day. Today it's traded 2. Well, it's doing 2x volume. But of course, that's not going to be interesting to at least most traders out there. So that's where that minimum volume cap comes in like that for you. So not seeing anything else, but don't be shy. Don't be shy. Come on, guys. Come on, gals. Come on, peoples. I much prefer sessions like this where I'm going over and, really, really going over the software like this. I mean, I can go over some other windows here I haven't gone over yet. My pleasure, Charles. And just fire those questions into me to the email. I'm gonna get you what you need, whether it's some links to the user's guide, a video, a combination thereof, and make sure we get you going in a really positive direction. You have a great day. Also, have a great holiday. So, all right, I'm gonna shift this back over this way. I guess I'll bring out all my windows again. And if you're all going to be mean and give me the silent treatment, I'm teasing. I'm just teasing, of course. I guess we could just start going over God knows whatever in the software. And I can't really think of what else to do with you all. It's kind of a sleepy day in the market, right? As we're heading into the holiday here. For those that might be on the international side of things, Thursday is Thanksgiving here. So, of course, the market will be closed. For those that are unaware, Friday is a shortened trading day for the market. It will only be it'll be a 9:30 open on the regular session. It'll be a 1 o'clock close on Friday. So just, prepare yourselves accordingly. One thing, I don't know if I mentioned this to you folks. It was someone else I was in a conversation with the other day. But, we're really approaching the end of the year here. There's not a ton of trading days left in the end of the year here, between holidays, weekends, and all that. It's really important that if you had a good year in the market, maybe this is a refresher for some, but this might be, new to others. If it was your first good year, don't try to, overdo it now into the end of the year and like, oh, well, I've done well, but let me really knock it out of the park, right? This, the end of the year isn't a time to make up for any lost time, whether you had a good year or a bad year. Especially if you had a bad year, though, you might want to consider, all right, wasn't the year that I wanted it to be. But I'm not going to, I've got a process and I'm working on the process and I'm just going to continue to work on that process. Don't push, don't press, don't force. I say this from experience, like most people that come here, I started off, I had no idea what I was doing. I needed to make money like everybody else, bills and food and family and, all those things like that to take care of and put on the table and roofs and stuff like that. So, I get it. Believe me, I get it. But it's a process. You got to work through the process with, being logical and coming up with a real trading system to couple the scans that you're making, right? You got the scans giving the ideas and your trading system telling you how to handle or not handle those ideas should, it's not an actionable idea coming through the scan because that happens, right? So let's see. All right. With that said, again, I encourage folks to get some questions in here. If not, I mean, we'll dive around the market. I'm not sure what else we can really do today. I talked before as we head into the holiday here, and an interesting time to be heading into the holiday. Button up here at 600 on the SPY. So, it'll be interesting to see how these things unfold. Sitting there right at 699 again. I mean, or 599 again. Pretty incredible stuff. See if it can't do that, right? Just rocket itself through. I talked a little last week. Here's 500. We got through 500. We came down, just pierced it by not a whole lot, and then we just took off, right? And that was a pretty sizable pullback to come from here to here. That was a pretty good pullback. Let's not kid ourselves, right? That was a pretty good sell-off. We didn't touch 500, and we never really looked back again, to be honest. Some other pullbacks here and some consolidations, but we didn't spend a lot of time at 500 on the SPY. So, you got to ask yourself, what will be the results coming down the road here with 600. We did flirt with 400, right? Because here's 400 on this picture in picture, right? So we came up through 400, came back under it, and touched back again. There was a bear market that was involved in this here. So you can keep that in mind. We are now in the third year of a bull market. How much more does it have to go? Your guess is as good as everybody else's. Just remember, the people that are calling for crashes, they've called for a crash. They call for 20 of them a year, right? We see, a crash or so a decade usually. They're calling for a crash here. 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 I just think if you listened to them through all this, you'd have missed from here to here, right? That's a big chunk to miss out on. If you were to listen to them even more, let's get rid of the drawing there. There we go. Here's the COVID crash, new bull market, bear market happens. This turns out to be one of the greatest first halves to any market ever off that bear market bottom, right? We get a pullback, a move, a pullback, a move, and a pullback, and a move. Just think, if you were listening to people that are calling for crashes all the time, you'd never participate in any of this, right? Bull market, bear market, bull market, right? This is the stuff that matters right here. This is the hard work that we put in seeing this stuff, not listening to it. Anyway, sorry, I just really got to bash on those people. Really don't like them at all. I think they're I truly think they're evil people that do that, looking to hurt people in their trading, their retirements. They're not there to help you, that's for sure. They're there to sell a service. Anyways, with that said, Qs, you're looking real strong too. Good daily chart. Not quite the same, butting up against the all-time highs as the SPY is right now, but surely close enough. And if someone's out there making a reasonable bear case, I get it. There's some logical reasons to make a bear case right now. I'm not going to say there isn't. It's just we're going to crash, folks. We can't go up forever. There'll be a pullback. There'll be a bear market. There'll be a sell-off. It'll happen. When? Ain't nobody predicting it accurately, I'll tell you that. The people that get it right will have gotten it wrong 20 times before they got it right. That's not getting it right. 500 level obviously doesn't matter. And again, how much more do we have in the tank before the end of the year? Maybe a lot, maybe a little. Who knows? Right? Keep things in mind. IWM, very important, worth noting here how strong that is, and that it is. It's right there on the all-time highs, right? There's a lifetime high on the IWMs. And it's been a long time since the IWM did this, folks. Long time. Look at this. There puts in the lifetime high back here in November of 2021, right? So again, for people to tell you how extended this market is, okay, well, the IWM is making its first all-time high in 3 years. That's extended. I guess we have different definitions of extended, right? That's not extended as far as I'm concerned. That doesn't mean we're not going to crash and sell off. That also doesn't mean we won't just rip the face off of everybody on this. But I don't think that that's an extended market right there. Not on the small caps and the growth stocks, right? So bear these things in mind. Bear these things in mind. Again, folks, anybody with questions, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Get those questions in for me, please. Please. Last but not least, the diamonds. Beautiful run right here, right? Sell off. We never sold off really hard on the diamonds. Let's be honest here, right? We're sold off that hard. That's a good pullback. It was a bear market, but it wasn't that bad. And then, we popped up out of it. We ran sideways before just really kind of just chugging along. Again, Look at this on a weekly chart. Does that look really extended to you? It doesn't look that extended. It doesn't look extended at all to me. And there are folks out there that would argue this is the most important index in the world. I'm not going to argue against them. It doesn't look that extended to me. I'm not saying we're not going to sell off. All I'm saying is that's not exactly straight up, right? Not exactly straight up. So again, some food for thought. I guess we go over some top 10 signals from my race. But again, I preferred if you folks were asking me questions. I'd much prefer that to what we got going on. I don't mind going over charts and doing what we're doing right now. This isn't interesting. But anyways, so be it. ARPQ is the last one. Let's start there. Let's get off a weekly chart. I can do my weekly chart for this here. Sorry, I just want to keep swapping this back to long side. All right, so interesting buy signal here on the trade wave at what did that give us at? 1630. Beautiful move off of that. Not a really liquid stock, though, to be honest. 600,000 shares traded on the day. It's got 30-cent spread. No, to me, clearly, if you've been a part of it, you're not seeing the blues, that's for sure. What a move over the last week plus, but very tough to trade something like this, day trade something like this, right? Nevertheless, there it is. VSEE is the clubhouse winner. The stock was just off to the races, gapped up, just kept going and going and going on a percent basis here. Still up, but now it's under the VWAP. Consolidating way down here after these sell-offs. Clearly, it's not anything special as far as the daily chart goes. So, make of it what you will. 5 million, 6 million in the float here. So clearly, there's a lot of retail traders involved, chasing each other, pumping that price up, and then the merry-go-round in the sense of who's going to be last off as everybody's pulling out profits. That's more than less what you see going on here. That doesn't mean it can't get ramped up and going again later. But, just keep in mind, it's got the VWAP above it that could run into, and then $3 again. Clearly $3 is a bear. We can see here by the chart, so on and so forth. PDYN, this one, it was a frustrating one for me. I was watching this. The price alert down here at 525. So if I took out the high today, I wanted to be in it. I ended up with another task. This is why it's tough for me to day trade. I'm doing another task, and off to the races it went. Now, by the time I noticed it, it was almost up here at $6 already. So, would I have gotten in it here? Would I have gotten it here? Those are likely scenarios. So, let's just say I got this and I sold that. I'd have been really happy with that piece. I didn't buy here. I wouldn't have sold there. But anyways, I just couldn't keep my attention on it. So this one, but I was watching. I really kind of felt like it had a chance to do that today. It did. It certainly did. So it's the humble, as they say. Waiting to get the VWAP now. For me, the setup has gone past, up $1.76, even here right now on a stock that was below $5 when it opened this morning. It was down here at almost $4 when it opened, to be honest. So hard to find a second setup for me in this. Not saying it won't happen. That's just for me personally. CDZI, haven't seen you today. Not sure what it did. So pretty liquid, 2.2 million, 38 volume, lots of volume, lots of liquidity. I think it's really, really tough when you see bottom and top in shadows. However, that was the end of the main move here. Real nice move here. Great move off the floor break as well. So this, there's no easy trade. This is a little nicer of a chart to look at than for example, the VSEE type of chart or something like that. So interesting look, that's for sure. FATE, I saw that coming early. Looking at that daily chart, I wasn't thrilled about the look of it. You saw this big top and shadow from the other day here like that. kind of, there's no way I'm going and chasing something like that in the first 2 minutes of the day. It's never going to happen. Not anymore. Definitely done it in the past. And, the sharks in the market with my real time chasing, but and sold itself off. It's rebounding now. It is rebounding. We'll see what happens when it gets to the VWAP. This might be one that could reset itself up again here today. I wouldn't be surprised to see this make a run back over $3. To be honest, I'm unlikely. I'm not going to trade it. There's no scenario in which I trade this today. I just wouldn't be surprised to see it do that. HSAI. Again, folks, be shy. Put some in here for me. I was watching this. I liked it. I was watching it for this again, the break of that high of the day here. But never. It just felt. I just didn't feel confident in this stock and my abilities on it, and so I let it go. I took my eye off it as well, but taking my eye off it didn't have that same impact as it did with PDYN did. I just, whenever I see China, I just get weary because these stocks just have this tendency to make this quick, great move and reverse so fast. And even if you got a decent fill on it on the upside, it can reverse so fast. At least they do it to me that just keep it out in time. I just want to have that happen. So HSAI, it wouldn't be surprising to me again if this setup again, although one might call for a double top here as well. That would also not surprise me. So, these technical analysis is so subjective. On one side, I'm seeing a double top here, but on another side, I'm seeing it, hold this line here. And if it holds this line here, reclaims, because bouncing down near that VWAP, reclaims and it gets $8 again, it could certainly take off. So is it a double top or is it setting up for another leg up? What do you see, right? That's one of the superpowers, I think. If you ever see both sides of the coin, so you're really concerning yourself with, well, it could make that move again. And if it does this, then it could do that. Then this is how I manage risk, right? But if it does this and it does that, then I don't want to be a part of it because that'd be too risky to manage on that, right? So that's risk management right there, folks. That's just one example of risk management. HSAI, right? QMCO. I was watching this. I deleted the price alert pretty early on it when I started to realize how big these moves it's making. I just don't have an account where I can take risk like this. Like, take I guess it takes 100 shares. You take 100 shares and this thing moves back down $4 against you. I want to take a $300-$400 loss on 100 shares. And well, yes, sure, I could take 100 shares. I was looking at it around the 18 level. Way up over, and 100 shares would have equaled, a ton of money on this, right? But that's hindsight trading, right? I have no way to know that it was going to do that. This thing's been all over the place. Look at how wide these bars are. Look at some of the topping shadows and the bottoming shadows on this, right? So just speaking for myself, I am sure there are people out there, many people out there that have been on the right side of this thing, made themselves a very, very nice bit of coin here. And kudos to them, man. And I hope to have an account that I can I can trade stocks with this one day, but there's a lot of other folks out here starting from scratch years ago. And I don't have that kind of money in my account where I'm comfortable taking this large of a risk on share size. It's got to be share size that's worth the risk too, right? I don't take 20 shares either. So you got to consider that when you take shares of anything, now your capital's tied up in that. And if there's another setup that you like or you like more that all of a sudden comes afterwards, well, then you can't get in that, right? Or I can't get in that. And so just, didn't look right to me for me. So it was very hard for me to delete the price. I didn't realize that it made a run up here to like $33. So I'm even more a little bit picking myself. But also, that's discipline, right? That's discipline trading, knowing that we're going to miss these here, right? Let's find the next one, right? Let's find the next good setup. LX. Seen the stock a lot here. And I guess with good reason here, all these huge moves that it's made. China stock, not a low float, but it certainly trades like a low floater. I mean, coming from under $4 today. 84 cents at this point, 25, almost 25%, probably about 25% off the top, right? This is a cleaner looking chart overall, though, so clearly a positive reaction to earnings that were on yesterday. post market. And when I say cleaner chart, like you got this in the open here and you traded down here, right? And then, grinding higher, but it was you don't see a ton of topping shadows or large topping shadows or bottom shadows all over the place. You get some. Nothing too crazy on this though. A much cleaner looking chart here. So it's LX sitting up here, and there's a coincidence. We're going to be looking at those levels here. Everybody's looking at these levels. You got bag holders that are probably still sitting there, dumping shares. And the price gets anywhere near the levels, I'm going to put out with either small loss or small break even like that. So you just got to wonder how much is still being held from these levels that are being fed into this move right here, right? So always something to consider. What else? What else, folks? What else? We talked about ARQQ at the beginning. POET. That's straight steady grinding, right? So gap up, move over 450, comes back and test that 450, roll those up, a nice consolidation, break of that range, and grinding at this point. So, what came from under $4, it's up 84 cents, nearly 20% right now. How much more does it have in the tank? Look at this level right here. Struggle with this level here. You got that right above it there. So, consider what are you risking? What are you making, right? Where are you putting your stop? Where's your target, right? And last but not least, SBFM. All right, SBFM. What do we got going on here? So, clearly some reverse splits in this over time. See this thing gap down, traded up. These are the tougher traders, right? There's nothing they can trade. Look at these, bottoming shadows, just nonstop all through it. It's tough. It's tough. The stock is starting, down around 240, it's up 50 some odd cents. It's good for, 21.75%. I mean, that's a heck of a move percentage wise, right? But this thing, think about how many shares you got to take on this, right? And these moves start to become agony both ways. Like, oh, I'm up. Let's just say we got on a 260 break, ooh, I'm up. Ooh, I'm back down. Ooh, I'm up. I'm back down. You know what I mean? Like I'm up X amount, and I'm only up X amount. But very tough to on that chart right there. So, anywho, that's life in the trader lane. So hang out for a couple of more minutes if folks got questions here. As I mentioned before, shortened holiday week. Thursday markets are closed. Friday's I guess it's a half day, right? Yeah, that makes sense, right? Half day. It's a 1 p.m. close on Friday. So again, whether you had a great year or a bad year, keep in mind just X amount of days left over in the year, the trading year, right? Volume's going to start to taper down unless obviously we have some kind of crazy event going on, right? But any economic news that's coming out, non-farm payrolls, CPI, stuff like that. I don't think we're going to see anything earth-shattering on any of those things. I think everybody knows that inflation's still a bit of a beast, needing some taming still. The Fed has done what they're going to do for the year. I don't, outside of something we could never possibly account for, see anything change on their end of things. We won't know exactly what retail looks like until the new year and how the holiday shopping season went and all those things like that. That'll be a hindsight trade, right? So, if you've got, your ear to the ground for retail and stores in some way that, you're able to metrics it aside from, earnings reports and things like that. It's a speculation trade as far as the retail goes. For those that always, I see people really get a big misconception with the Santa Claus rally. Just in case, if you're like, oh, Santa Claus rally. The Santa Claus rally, for those that don't know, was coined, I believe, in 1974 by the creator of the Stock Traders Almanac. His son, Jeff Hirsch, now runs that all. Anyways, the Santa Claus rally is the last 5 trading days of the year and the first 2 trading days of the next year. If there's to be a Santa Claus rally, that's when it will happen. The Santa Claus rally is not leading into Christmas. All right. So it's a big misconception. Now, you can slice it any way you want as far as that goes, but that's how that works. Maggie, uh, the money machine will work like this. First, we're still testing it. So we don't even know right now at this point how it looks in live automation. So it's in a view demo mode for users. You can look at it and you can attempt to follow along with it manually. You don't need anything extra for it. You just need a subscription for now. But it is tough to trade any of those like that. That's just the short and skinny of that part of it. If the money machine does well in live testing, we're still got a ways to go. We're still working on the plumbing to get there for being able to send the orders back and forth like that. So we got a little ways to go here before we know anything. If it works, and we'll just pretend it does, it's going to become an add-on for premium subscribers. We had a one waitlist round that went out. It's full, that waitlist. That's it. Nobody else can sign up for that automation when it becomes available. If we have another waitlist, our management team will communicate that to the folks that have signed up on our primary email list. And it'll be just like the first list, a first come, first served basis with premium users getting first shot at signing up for it. That's how that will work. So it's a yes and no answer to your question, Maggie. It is yes, that would be an additional $5,000. It is a no, that it is not available at this time. And it's not available. Once it is available, it's not just something you'll be straight away able to sign up for. There may come a point where that is possible. But one of the things we have to consider is that if we all of a sudden get, let's say, 1,000 people trying to trade the same exact stocks at the same exact time through the money machine, it's going to influence and manipulate those stocks, and we're going to have a different set of issues on our hand, likely with the SEC. So, we have to consider all these things like that. So it's a yes, it will be. That's what it will be when we get there. It's a no, it's not ready for that right now. Fingers crossed that, folks on the dev side of things, they can get this plumbing done sooner than later. These things are not easy, but I have the utmost confidence in them. So, all right, folks, that's going to do it for me today. If you want to head back to the trading room with Barry, I'm sure he's either back or will be back momentarily. This is the link. If you're unfamiliar, if you just kind of stumbled into this here, you are welcome, Maggie. You are welcome. That's a link back to the traders room for you with Barry. If you're new to all of this, I would highly encourage you to hang out with Barry, man. There ain't nobody better in the business than him, that's for sure. As always, I thank you folks kindly for joining me. Thank you for all the back and forth interactions. And I will not likely see you all via live stream the rest of this week. So have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving wherever you are in the world. Even if you don't necessarily celebrate Thanksgiving, you're not in the U.S., market's going to be closed, maybe day of reflection and things like that. Those are always good for us as well as human beings. So, all right, everybody, take care. Have a great, great rest of the week. Bye-bye.